Learning the skill of the golden light sphere is quite simple, just infuse spiritual energy into it. Of course, comprehending the true power of the skill still requires continuous practice. The method of use appeared in Long HaoChen's mind on its own, after he was influenced by the golden light. Evidently, it was a part of the memories brought by the eternal melody. Without any hesitation, Long HaoChen immediately learned the Shura Slash skill. What he lacks now are frontal assault skills. He personally experienced the power of Shura Slash. If it weren't for the life sharing among his companions, that strike would have likely severely wounded him. The golden light sphere gradually disappeared as spiritual energy was infused. And the method of using Shura Slash was deeply imprinted in Long HaoChen's mind. He gave it a simple try, and while the power was immense, the amount of spiritual energy it consumed was quite astonishing, up to 1,000 points of spiritual energy. Its consumption might not be as massive as Light Rain Hibiscus Thrust, but don't forget, Light Rain Hibiscus Thrust is a skill attached to the weapon, and it requires spiritual energy to activate Blue Rain, Light Lotus itself, and, furthermore, Light Rain Hibiscus Thrust has greater power and a larger attack range. The attack range of Shura Slash is limited to the range of the weapon's spiritual energy. However, Shura Slash also has its advantages. Within a range of 5 meters, it ignores any enemy evasion skills. This single feature is enough to compensate for its massive consumption. After all, this isn't a frequently used skill. Additionally, among 6 rank skills, its attack power should be among the best. It's suitable for warriors and knights to learn. If you add the amplification of Radiance Ripple, how powerful would this strike be? Challenges come with rewards. Certainly, Shura Slash can enhance Long HaoChen's strength, but what's more important to him is the understanding of the tests within the Tower of Eternity. The bestowal of spiritual energy and skills, and it seems that it's not limited to the abilities of necromancer saints. This discovery is undoubtedly more valuable than discovering any treasure, if he can continue practicing here. His rate of improvement would be at least several times faster than his usual practice. Taking a deep breath with determination, Long HaoChen tried to calm his turbulent emotions. It seems he must find a way to persuade his companions to come together. If it were someone else, their first thought would undoubtedly be to monopolize this place. But Long HaoChen didn't think that way. While monopolizing it could keep secrets and accelerate his own growth, however, the demon forces are strong. Can he really confront the 72 demon gods alone? That would undoubtedly be a pipe dream. The Son of Light possesses not only goodness, but also many other positive qualities. From the beginning to the end, Long HaoChen never thought about monopolizing this place. Hao Yu, let's go! Long HaoChen shouted in a low voice, then leapt up and landed on Hao Yu's back. All 3 heads of Hao Yu simultaneously let out a low roar, his 4 hooves galloping, rapidly charging out of the gates of the Tower of Eternity. Just as they left the Tower of Eternity, Long HaoChen suddenly felt that the eternal melody in his chest seemed to turn into a burning piece of coal, and an intense burning sensation made him grunt involuntarily. Immediately after, a piercing screech erupted. Intense golden light burst forth from Long HaoChen's center, enveloping him and Hao Yu. The screech was still audible but couldn't harm them at all. He turned his head to look behind him, and saw that countless resentful spirits outside the tower were now flying towards it, at 10 times their previous speed. The body of the Tower of Eternity emitted a pale white light, rising like flames. In just a few blinks of an eye, those resentful spirits had all attached themselves to the Tower of Eternity, and in the next moment, Long HaoChen witnessed a scene he would remember for a lifetime. At the apex of this conical cave, a massive black hole slowly opened up, and the entire cave trembled violently, as if it could collapse at any moment. Then, incredibly, as the light distorted, the Tower of Eternity became ethereal, and the next moment, it swiftly vanished into the black hole with a whoosh. The black hole closed, and the cave that had Tower of Eternity as its center suddenly became empty. The screeching abruptly stopped in this moment. The intense burning sensation gradually subsided in his chest, yet Long HaoChen could clearly feel that right there, an inexplicable connection quietly emerged. It seemed that as long as he willed it, he could step onto that bridge of communication, with Hao Yu carrying Long HaoChen, while Xiaoqing cast a levitation spell on herself, reducing her weight. They climbed toward the mountain wall under Long HaoChen's guidance. During the descent, although the terrain was treacherous, it wasn't completely vertical. Hao Yu's 4 sharp claws were extremely tough, and climbing was unexpectedly effortless. Suddenly, Long HaoChen's heart jolted, and he raised his hand to touch the Scrying Gem hanging from his waist. His expression immediately turned somewhat unpleasant. Due to the shock from the Tower of Eternity, he had actually forgotten to deactivate the Scrying Gem earlier. If everything within the Tower of Eternity was remembered, then how should he explain to the soldier level number 4 demon hunting squad what happened? And how should he report back about this mission when he returns? He wasn't afraid to reveal the secret of the Tower of Eternity to the Temple Alliance, but the crucial issue was that the eternal melody, which served as the key to the Tower of Eternity, seemed to have fused with his body. This was bound to bring him a lot of trouble. Hoping for a stroke of luck, Long HaoChen infused his spiritual energy into the Scrying Gem, to check its recorded content. A beam of light shot out from the Scrying Gem, forming a 1-meter diameter circular image in front of Long HaoChen. The projection began recording from the moment he entered the cave, under the control of his spiritual energy. Long HaoChen adjusted the playback speed of the Scrying Gem. Since the Scrying Gem was hanging from Long HaoChen's waist, it couldn't have captured the process of him comprehending Radiance Ripple, so it only recorded his process of resisting the screech. Gradually, under Long HaoChen's control, the projection finally reached the moment when he arrived underground. It continued recording until the moment those two resentful spirits lunged at him. At this point, the projection suddenly became blurry, and the next moment it disappeared. Gone. Long HaoChen looked at the Scrying Gem in astonishment, infused it with spiritual energy again and watched once more, but the result was exactly the same as before. The projection ultimately only remained at the moment when Long HaoChen was attacked by the resentful spirits. Could it be that the Tower of Eternity had blocked the recording ability of the Scrying Gem? As Long HaoChen kept checking the recording of the Scrying Gem, the entrance of the cave of fearful wailing wasn't calm either. Someone's coming! Hao DaoSi, who was responsible for keeping watch outside, suddenly darted into the cave. This cave had been manually carved out by them. The mountain was rugged, so the cave wasn't very deep, only enough to accommodate everyone sitting down. Of course, after Hao Yu left, the cave's space had become much larger. At this time, the outside was still pitch black, and dawn was still some time away. It's the demon race. I didn't dare to get close. There are about 30 of them. The one leading them is even stronger than the demon lord we intercepted before. They've just come down from the opposite mountain peak, and it seems like they've spotted us from this side. Hao DaoSi has a special ability that enhances his vision at night. That's how he could see the movements on the opposite mountain. Prepare for battle. LuXi, I haven't commanded a group battle before. You'll command the battle. In any case, we must hold on until HaoChen returns. Cai Er said in a low voice. No one had expected the demon race to arrive so quickly, but no matter how the demon race got the information, they had to engage in battle before Long HaoChen returned. Otherwise, wouldn't these demons encounter Long HaoChen once they entered the cave? A demon even stronger than the demon lord obviously wasn't easy to deal with. Cai Er's beautiful eyes shone like stars in the dark night, radiating a faint light, and even carried a hint of determination. Long HaoChen had been gone for so long without returning, and though she appeared calm on the surface, her heart was more anxious than anyone's. Fortunately, the soul link existed, allowing her to be sure that Long HaoChen wasn't in mortal danger, or else she would have probably gone to find him already. LuXi knew that now wasn't the time for politeness, so she nodded and said, HaoChen isn't here, and we lack a core guardian knight. In battle later, we'll rely on the cave for defense. First, lure them here. All magic-based professions should stay inside the cave, while melee professions guard the entrance. Cai Er and Hao DaoSi, you two harass the enemies from outside. LiXin, you'll be outside as well, using Rose Unicorn's flying ability to support us in the air. LuXi's command ability wasn't lacking. Perhaps he didn't possess Long HaoChen's strong sense of the bigger picture and predictive abilities, but he definitely qualified as an average commander in a battle. Han Yu, Dian Yan, Wang YuanYuan, and ShiMa Xian exited the cave. Han Yu promptly stood at the center, quickly donning his equipment. Cai Er and Hao DaoSi disappeared into the shadows. LiXin was a retribution knight. Defense wasn't her strong suit, which is why LuXi arranged for her to assist from outside, making use of the advantages of Rose Unicorn. However, in order not to expose herself too early, she chose to climb above the cave first, ready to summon Rose Unicorn at any time. After all, the demon clan doesn't know how many of them there are. Hao DaoSi held a pitch-black dagger in each hand, and he chose a clever hiding spot, right behind a rock above the cave of fearful wailing. But it was at this moment he noticed that Cai Er had disappeared. He sighed inwardly. This is the difference. He had never considered Cai Er as a target before, and the previously unseen Cai Er was so powerful now, not to mention her restored vision. Even as a member of the Assassin Temple, he only vaguely knew that Cai Er had posed as a blind girl before, due to her unique cultivation techniques. Merging with darkness, Cai Er didn't linger near the cave, but silently headed downhill. In team battles, the role of assassins is actually limited. Assassins excel at ambushes, and the current nightfall is clearly ideal for her. Acting alone eliminates the need to worry about teammates' safety, allowing her to fully showcase her attacking power. The demon clan arrived swiftly, and Cai Er, descending rapidly, soon saw that they had reached the base of the first mountain peak, preparing to climb towards this side. Similar to the previous group that was eliminated by them, this batch of demon reinforcements consisted of great demon riders. The nightmares ridden by the great demons emitted a faint dark red glow. If it weren't for this distinctive mark, Hao DaoSi wouldn't have spotted them from such a distance. 33 of them. Cai Er approached quietly, while counting the number of enemies. Indeed, just as Hao DaoSi had said, the one leading was exceptionally powerful. He was much stronger than the demon leader, and more importantly, he had a pair of diagonally spread bat wings behind him. The nightmare devil horse he rode had hooves of fire, with occasional flashes of red on its dark body. resembling burning charcoal. This was at least a 6th-rank demon beast. The demon leader capable of riding it was likely of the 7th-rank strength or higher. Cai Er and Long HaoChen had also taken down a 7th-rank junior bloodthirsty beta, but luck played a greater role in that instance, coupled with Long HaoChen's light rain hibiscus thrust and her reincarnation spirit furnace erupting together. In terms of true strength, while she and Long HaoChen were both exceptionally gifted, they could at most contend with 6th-rank low-level demons. 7th-rank demons were no longer mere demon commanders, but demon lords. Just a word apart, yet their strength differed significantly. This demon lord wielded a dark red giant sword. In his eyes, a glimmer of dark red light shone, and Cai Er had no doubt about his power. The most important quality of an assassin is being calm, no matter the circumstances. They must maintain a heart as cold as ice. Cai Er descended alone, with a simple goal, to inflict maximum damage on the enemy, and slow their ascent to the mountaintop. Concealed in the shadows, Cai Er seemed to meld with the mountain, emitting not a trace of human presence. Even assassins with much greater cultivation might not achieve her level of concealment. The foremost demon lord quickly passed. Cai Er made no move, silently awaiting the passage of the demon riders, until the last demon rider swiftly passed not far from her. She emerged like a wisp of smoke. The nightmare devil horse's senses were quite keen, yet it remained unaware of Cai Er trailing behind. Stealth wasn't invisibility, but using the surroundings to conceal oneself as much as possible. At this moment, Cai Er was hidden within the shadow of the last demon rider. Despite the dim environment, there was still a faint glimmer of starlight in the sky, yet Cai Er didn't rush to act, but silently followed the demon riders in preparation for the ascent. The demon lord, riding his massive nightmare, ascended the mountain peak where the cave of fearful wailing was located, and the demon riders followed suit, nearly indistinguishable from human cavalry, proceeding in an orderly manner, and without making much noise. Just as the final great demon mounted the nightmare devil horse, preparing to climb the mountain, Cai Er, concealed in the shadows, took action. Without any warning, she suddenly accelerated. Even in the instant she arrived behind the nightmare devil horse, she wasn't noticed by the opponent. At this moment, she was like a ghost. Her spiritual power erupted instantly. The dark gold dagger flashed and vanished. With Cai Er's current cultivation, ambushing a 4th-rank great demon, how could it not succeed? The dagger plunged directly into the back of the great demon, simultaneously slashing downward, instantly severing the central nervous system connecting its neck and head. Cai Er's assassination could be described as perfect, to the point that the great demon couldn't even let out a cry of agony, merely grunting before collapsing downward. Cai Er's movements didn't stop. As the great demon fell downward, in the moment the nightmare devil horse reacted, her left hand had transformed into a palm, striking the great demon, sending his body flying forward like a cannonball. Simultaneously, her right hand's dark gold dagger instantly pierced the nightmare devil horse's back. This stab was incredibly accurate, hitting the precise gap between 2 vertebrae of the nightmare devil horse, a powerful burst of spiritual power, and the nightmare devil horse let out a mournful roar. Then its body was paralyzed on the ground. Cai Er didn't deliver another blow to the now incapacitated nightmare devil horse. Instead, she used the cover of the great demon's flying corpse, instantly retreating into the darkness and disappearing. Striking once and retreating, never lingering in battle, this is what an excellent assassin must accomplish. Suddenly attacked, the group of great demon riders became somewhat chaotic. The leading demon lord suddenly turned around, let out a low roar, and shouted a demonic incantation. Following that, a layer of dark red light spread from him, instantly enveloping all the great demon riders. Beneath each nightmare devil horse appeared a dark red halo with a diameter of about 2 meters. Indeed, a demon of the Lord tier, and this was evidently a group enhancement skill. Simultaneously, from the blood-red eyes of the demon lord, 2 red beams shot forth, instantly scanning the direction where Cai Er had just disappeared, the red giant sword in his hand gleaming brightly. Evidently, the red light in the demon lord's eyes was also a probing skill, but unfortunately, he didn't find what he wanted to find. Cai Er seemed to have vanished into the distance. A trace of severity flashed in the demon lord's eyes. He shouted, and the great demon riders resumed their journey, though this time, the demon lord didn't lead from the front. Instead, staying in the middle of the formation, protected by the great demon riders as they advanced, their pace even slightly slowing down. His fierce gaze swept around from time to time, searching for any possible clues. Of course, Cai Er hadn't left. She was still concealed in the shadows, the only difference being that the demon lord couldn't detect her. The death of one great demon rider didn't cause panic in this demon group. Instead, their defenses grew stronger. Cai Er noticed, apart from the central position occupied by the demon lord, among these great demon riders, there were unexpectedly 2 6th-rank demon commanders, one at the front and one at the rear, guarding the head and tail of the formation, greatly increasing the difficulty of Cai Er's ambush. The demon lord was very angry. He didn't even command his subordinates to collect the dead demon's corpse, nor did he concern himself with the injured nightmare devil horse. His fierce appearance appeared even more sinister in his anger, continuously enhancing his senses to find Cai Er's trail. At this moment, suddenly, a sharp sound came from the front of the great demon rider group. The demon lord and the foremost demon commander reacted swiftly, almost simultaneously leaping into action, especially the 7th rank demon commander. With his sudden surge of power, he was like a ball of blood-red light. Shooting up from the back of the nightmare devil horse, lifting his heavy sword in hand, swiftly striking toward the source of the sound, suspended in midair, his blood-red great sword swung forth, a dazzling burst of bloody light accompanied by the stench of blood erupted, covering an area of over 10 meters. Every solid rock it passed emitted a popping sound. Where the bloody light spread, the rocks melted, as if plummeting into a hell of magma. Unfortunately, no matter how powerful the demon lord was, his attacks still needed to truly hit their target. In the midst of his grand sword swing that cleared a large area of rocks, screams had already erupted from behind. The demon lord abruptly turned around, just in time to catch a glimpse of a shadow disappearing into the darkness, and the attack of the 6th-ranked demon commander from the back of the formation also landed in the empty space, another great demon rider falling off. The nightmare devil horse's back, lifeless in an instant. Roar. This time, the demon lord was truly infuriated, issuing a deafening roar to the sky, followed by a series of hurried incantations. Crimson blood light burst forth from him as the center, transforming into a thick layer of blood-red light shield, enveloping all the great demon riders within. This time, if Cai Er wanted to ambush again, she would have to first break through his defenses. Cai Er sighed inwardly, truly a 7th-rank powerhouse, making the correct decision within the shortest time. If the demon lord hadn't used a group defense magic, she would have had multiple ways to complete the ambush. As the group defense magic was cast, the demon lord led the great demon riders to suddenly accelerate up the mountain, the nightmare devil horses racing at full speed, heading straight toward the direction of the cave of fearful wailing. The impossibility of ambushing again didn't make Cai Er anxious. She remained calm and followed behind. It wasn't the time for all-out effort now. The nightmare devil horses were indeed very fast, and the slope wasn't too steep. Not long after, they were getting closer and closer to the location of the cave of fearful wailing. Suddenly, a large expanse of thorns appeared ahead. These thorns were over a meter tall and extremely tough. The leading great demon riders had to use their spears to clear the way, reducing their forward speed somewhat. A flash of red light shone in the eyes of the demon lord seated in the center. He shouted something, and the 6th-rank demon commander at the forefront immediately took action, raising his spear high. A dark red flame swept out, instantly setting the thorns ahead ablaze. While the thorns were burning, suddenly, a strange energy fluctuation appeared in the midst of the great demon riders, followed by a massive silver-white light erupting from the center of the cavalry formation. Fierce spatial elements were filled with tremendous tearing force. Several nightmare devil horses leaped up with neighs, their bodies radiating red light, combined with the demon lord's released group defense skill. They weren't completely torn apart. The demon lord snorted in anger. The nightmare devil horse beneath him raised its front hooves, then heavily stomped on the ground. A dark red light filled with darkness and flames instantly spread, surprisingly suppressing the rapidly erupting silver light. However, the silver light wasn't entirely ineffective. At the very least, the group defense skill that the demon lord had set up earlier was shattered. YiJun, hidden in the cave, turned pale. The consumption of this spatial magic had been quite significant for him. He hadn't expected it to be so easily blocked by the demon lord, without even inflicting any damage on the demon clan. At this moment, the attacks from the 2 demon hunting squads had fully commenced. 10 crimson spikes. The same moment the demon lord's group defense skill vanished, accompanied by a piercing screech, appeared. Initially, Yang Wenjiao had been extremely troubled by these spikes attacks, and this time, Bai XiaoMo had unexpectedly released 10 at once. It could be seen that her strength was continuously growing through constant experience. Although the front demon commander was fully obstructing, he ultimately only managed to knock aside 3 spikes. Bai XiaoMo's thorny plants were arranged with great cunning. They were fired from different directions. Of course, the great demon riders would resist, but completely blocking Bai XiaoMo's attacks was far from easy. At least 5 of the great demons suffered varying degrees of injuries. Clouds of bloody mist burst in the air. And this was just the beginning. A large number of green beans fell from the sky. These beans nearly enveloped the location of all the great demon riders. The demon lord was just about to act against those beans. Suddenly, an exceedingly sharp, terrifying killing intent, akin to the arrival of a slaughter god, locked onto his body in an instant. Even someone of the 7th rank like the demon lord trembled all over. The skill he had just prepared to release into the air instantly froze. With his cultivation, he could fully sense what was light and what was heavy. The beans in the air didn't make him feel any sense of danger. But this sharp killing intent was in existence that could threaten his life. The rear demon commander also wanted to release a group skill to resist these falling green beans, but unfortunately, as he was preparing to release his skill, a cold and icy light had quietly approached his neck from behind. The 6th rank demon commander's reaction was quite fast. He swung his spear horizontally, and the nightmare devil horse beneath him simultaneously erupted with a circle of dark red flames. A shadow flashed by, the attack was retracted midway, and didn't truly land on him. However, even so, the airborne large green beans had fallen into the ranks of the great demon riders. Bean after bean burst. Sticky liquid instantly tainted the bodies of the great demons and their nightmare devil horses, and feeling sticky was definitely uncomfortable. But these great demons and nightmare devil horses were both of the dark and fire dual attributes. Their abilities were known as inferno flames, which had a certain inhibitory effect on Bai XiaoMo's plant summons, quickly releasing flames one by one, burning away the sticky liquid. Naturally, it was Cai Er who held back the demon lord, while the 6th rank demon commander at the rear faced the threat of another assassin, Hao DaoSi. Although Hao DaoSi wasn't as powerful as Cai Er, but to be able to enter the demon hunting squad selection competitions, top 60 assassins, how could he be ordinary? In a real battle, he certainly couldn't defeat that demon commander, but if it was just to hold back, it was enough for a short period of time. While chaos reigned behind, the situation in the front had changed. The leading 6th rank demon commander deflected 3 spikes, immediately locking his gaze onto the positions of the 2 demon hunting squads. However, before he could charge out, a dark red figure suddenly appeared before him, blocking his path. This figure was very tall, with bat wings spread open on its back, revealing a fierce appearance. Wasn't it the demon lord? The demon world's hierarchy was distinct. Seeing his immediate superior blocking his path, the demon commander who was just about to attack instantly paused. His movements naturally stopped. The demon lord in front of him didn't speak, just raising his right claw to point behind him. The demon commander subconsciously turned around to look. The moment he turned around, behind him, a magical scene unfolded. The massive figure of the 7th rank demon lord from a moment ago suddenly underwent a change in an instant. It actually turned into a large winged demon with bat wings on its back. This instant of strangeness, let alone the great demon riders, even commander level number 21 of the demon hunting squad, and soldier level number 4 of the demon hunting squad's individuals, were greatly shocked. A lightning-type golden spear fiercely shot out from behind the demon commander, and blinding electric light instantly erupted, causing the demon commander to emit a miserable and piercing scream in full-body spasms. If it were a direct confrontation, the 6th rank greater winged demon against the demon commander, it truly wasn't clear who would gain the upper hand. The greater winged demon had the advantage of the sky, but the demon commander had the nightmare devil horse as support. However, when it came to an ambush, it was a different story. The demon commander wouldn't naturally have any precautions against the demon lord. How could he possibly guess that it was a deadly trap? However, his nightmare devil horse beneath him was also a 5th rank demon. Seeing its rider under attack, it immediately launched a charge forward, attempting to knock the greater winged demon away. The greater winged demon's reaction was swift. Its wings spread open on its back, while its golden spear in hand exerted force downward. Its entire body suddenly suspended horizontally. A powerful lightning spiritual force erupted fully. The demon commander, who was heavily injured, immediately emitted a burnt smell all over his body. His nightmare devil horse also let out a miserable neigh, shivering as if having a seizure due to the electric shock. The greater winged demon wasn't going to let him off easily. With a vigorous swing of the spear, it flung the demon commander, who was already heavily injured by its electric attack, behind. Taking advantage of the opportunity of the paralysis of the nightmare devil horse beneath it, the spear was ruthlessly thrust into its body once more. Relying on its powerful attack, it ended the life of this 5th rank nightmare devil horse. A thick staff struck down in midair onto the flung demon commander's head, just like a watermelon meeting an iron rod. Various colors of juice flew everywhere, and it was clear that the 6th rank demon commander was dead. The greater winged demon didn't idle either. After taking out the demon commander, it immediately flapped its wings behind its back, as if a tiger had entered a flock of sheep. It charged into the ranks of the great demon riders. Originally, this detachment of demon riders was guarded by 2 demon commanders, one in front and one in the rear, and the center was presided over by the demon lord, their formation complete and solid. But now, the core at the front suddenly collapsed. Even though the great demon riders were formidable in strength, they became even more panicked. Many of them had just barely dealt with the stickiness of the pods. Bai XiaoMo's yellow coral-like plants weren't just capable of spraying out spikes once. While the greater winged demon lunged, 10 more spikes were shot out, and the pods also simultaneously released a barrage of beams. A massive heavy shield flew sideways from one side, accompanied by a piercing wail, sweeping horizontally, instantly knocking down 3 or 4 great demon riders. On the other side, ShiMa Xian, holding a staff, also emerged out of nowhere, this time activating his berserk skill directly. Rapidly swinging his staff, the holy bullet array combined with his fierce attacks, followed by Wang YuanYuan's powerful eruption with the shield of giant god charging into the enemy ranks, specifically targeting the weakened enemies, slaying the nightmare devil horses that had lost their great demons. Wang YuanYuan and ShiMa Xian broke free, while Didnt and Hanyu remained at the entrance. They were all magic-based professions there, needing to guard that position. After releasing a powerful spell, YiJun unleashed one spatial magic after another from the sky, providing strong support for the frontline warriors. Seeing the situation was favorable, but just at this moment, the formidable 7th-rank Demon Lord erupted. Without Cai Er's restraint, the great demon riders commanded by the Demon Lord were not so easily dealt with. However, seeing the front demon commander killed, and his subordinate great demon riders falling like harvested wheat, the Demon Lord couldn't remain calm. After all, he wasn't human, he wouldn't overthink things. His blood-red giant sword swept out, and his nightmare devil horse leapt sideways, almost instantly appearing in front of the greater winged demon that killed the demon commander. The greater winged demon had just smashed a great demon rider and its nightmare devil horse together. Caught off guard, as its body was sent flying backwards, its lightning spear swung sideways, releasing a burst of electric light. The Demon Lord loathed this greater winged demon. His blood-red heavy sword swung down, a 5-meter-long dark red sword beam emerged in midair, ruthlessly striking against the greater winged demon's spear. The disparity in tiers was undoubtedly evident at this moment. The greater winged demon let out a miserable cry, its lightning spear instantly snapped, and the tremendous impact sent it flying backward. A massive dark red energy shield rose up behind the Demon Lord, blocking the countless white lights erupting behind him, simultaneously turning his body. The blood-red giant sword swept, fierce sword energy bursting forth along with a dense dark red light. The dark red light converged from all directions, pressuring Cai Er, who was releasing the 1000-strike spirit furnace, forcing her to resist head-on. A flash of radiance, Cai Er's body shattered in response. Of course, it was just an illusion. Cai Er's true body was already several meters away. Nevertheless, the Demon Lord's formidable attack power still caused her body to roll sideways, her body quickly flickering, vanishing into the darkness. Cai Er wouldn't easily activate the reincarnation spirit furnace, because it wouldn't only cause her to lose one sense, but also drain all her spiritual power. It was her final move. That resulted in both her and the enemy's death. The Demon Lord's strike forced Cai Er to retreat, but he didn't pursue. Instead, he roared to the sky, and over 10 remaining great demon riders were quickly approaching, commanded by another demon commander. "Everyone fall back!" LuXi's voice sounded, and the greater winged demon swiftly returned to the entrance. Clearly visible was a deep gash between its chest and abdomen. If its reaction had been slightly slower, the previous strike would have severed it in two. This was the power of the 7th rank, and moreover, this Demon Lord was evidently not just at the entry level of the 7th rank, it was at least at the 4th or 5th level of the 7th rank. Wang YuanYuan and ShiMa Xian didn't linger in the battle, quickly retreating toward the entrance, while Cai Er and Hao DaoSi respectively moved around from both sides.